Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for April 7th, 2025. We are just under 2 weeks away now until WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. WWE back in the United States, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Wasn't Europe as far as the crowd heat goes, but they were all right. They did make some noise at certain parts during the show. Let's talk about the WrestleMania hype. Shout out to the chat room. Thank you for tuning in. Much love and appreciation. We had General Manager Adam Pearce in the ring with the Women's Championship. He brought out the champion Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Now, Adam Pearce accidentally referred to Rhea Ripley as a representative of Judgment Day, which, of course, she has not been part of Judgment Day for quite some time. That will be on the next Botchamania, I'm sure. Pearce got straight to the point. He said that he is going to right the wrong of what happened last week by confirming at WrestleMania it will, in fact, be a triple threat match for the Women's Championship. Bianca Belair says a few weeks ago she would have been pissed, but now she is actually happy about this. She told Rhea Ripley to stop whining and sign the contract. We had a new contract signing. I guess this counts as another contract signing segment. Rhea Ripley signed the contract, threw it at Bianca. Io, once again, was pie-faced, so she responded by drop-kicking both women. She signed the contract after Bianca had signed it, and then Io left with her championship. Segment was straight and to the point. Now, several people in the chat room pointing out that Bianca, she was getting booed, and she was acting a little heelish. What does this mean? Will we, in fact, see a Bianca Belair heel turn? That remains to be seen. We all knew the triple threat was coming. At least they got through this segment pretty quickly, and we now have it confirmed for WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. Will Bianca continue her WrestleMania streak, or will she lose at WrestleMania? Time will tell. Backstage, we had Judgment Day talking about the announcement that at WrestleMania, we got Braun Breaker defending the Intercontinental Championship against Finn Balor and Penta and Dominik Mysterio. And as it turns out, Liv Morgan got the job done. She took credit for Dominik being at it. Now, Finn Balor was not thrilled about this. However, Liv pointed out that now Judgment Day has doubled the chances of leaving WrestleMania with the championship. And then Balor said he believes in Dominik, that Dominik will be able to beat Penta later on in a match on Raw. We had our first match of Monday Night Raw, which was Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. Lyra, of course, the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Pretty solid match here on Monday Night Raw. We got some dueling chants. Fans were cheering for both of them. Bayley hit Lyra with a pretty brutal knee to the face. They traded shots. Lyra did some stuff, including the Irish swing. And then Bayley gave Lyra the Bayley to belly on the floor. Both women managed to beat the 10 count, and it was back and forth some more. Bayley hit a sunset flip power bomb out of the corner, and then Bayley put on a Boston Crab. Lyra was able to escape that, and then Lyra countered the Rose Plant, got the 1-2-3 victory. Bayley was very frustrated after the match was over. Lyra went for a handshake, but Bayley initially denied it. Then she walked over after reconsidering and hugged Lyra. Is Bayley going to turn heel again? Now, I know they have the women's gauntlet match for SmackDown. Winning team faces the champions at WrestleMania. I'm not even sure if Bayley and Lyra are in it. Will that be a storyline? I guess we'll see what happens on SmackDown. But yeah, Bayley loses. Lyra picks up a solid win as Intercontinental Champion. Much needed title defense, as Jerry pointed out in the chat room. We had this comedian, Bert Kreschner. I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name, but I guess he has a Netflix show. He was backstage with Chad Gable and American Made. Then the Alpha Academy came in there. We also had Karrion Kross confronting AJ Styles backstage. Kross said that we need the old AJ Styles to show up at WrestleMania and beat Logan Paul for the locker room. And then Styles said he's tired of Kross being obsessed with him. And Styles said he will give Kross a taste of the old AJ Styles on next week's Monday Night Raw. That will be on the Go Home episode of Raw before WrestleMania. We had the LWO, Dragon Lee and the other two guys. What are their names? I'm forgetting their names. I'm totally blanking on their names now. The tag team, Cruz del Toro, and man, I'm blanking on the other guy. The three LWO guys versus the Creeds, and not Chad Gable, because remember last week Adam Pearce said that Chad Gable would not be competing in Minneapolis, but instead El Grande Americano. By the way, Joaquin Wilde is the other guy. There you go. I completely forgot his name. Anyways, 6-man tag team match, the Creeds with Americano. All 6 were in the ring. It was a fun match. LWO cleared the ring, did 3 dives at the same time. And then after the break, it was down to Lee and Americano. Then Ivy Nile handed Americano some kind of a foreign object. He put it under his mask and he headbutted Rey Mysterio after Mysterio confronted him. Then he headbutted Dragon Lee, and then he came off the top with the loaded flying headbutt and got the 1-2-3 victory. Calvin, what are you talking about? That is definitely not Chad Gable. They've already confirmed it. We saw what happened several weeks ago when Americano got arrested and Chad Gable was standing right there. It's 100% not Chad Gable, Calvin. I don't know what you're talking about there. Anyways, this was a fun match, and I like Americano finding unique ways to pick up victories. Good stuff here. Now, backstage, Rey Mysterio was very upset, and he wanted a match with Americano, and he proposed a match at WrestleMania. And Adam Pearce made it official. We got a new match for WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Americano very quickly getting a WrestleMania spot. That is impressive. Only a couple weeks in the company, and he's already on WrestleMania. I feel bad for Chad Gable. He's not going to get a WrestleMania match. That sucks. But El Grande Americano will have the opportunity of a lifetime at WrestleMania. He's getting his WrestleMania moment. Good for him. We had Gunther cutting a promo in a suit. Well, he was supposed to cut a promo, but then Jey Uso's music immediately hit. Jey, though, was not yeeting. He was dressed in all black. He came into the ring. He knocked the microphone out of Gunther's hand, and he had something to say. Jey asked about Gunther's mother. What do they talk about? Jey brought up how he talked to his mom, had to tell her about Jimmy Uso being in the hospital, and Jey told her the reason he didn't help or couldn't help was because he was afraid of Gunther. And He said that Gunther had him. He had Jey. But now Jimmy's blood is not just on Gunther's hands, but Jey's hands as well. And Jey said that a light bulb went off in his head. He's no longer afraid of Gunther. And he told Gunther to hug his family, kiss them before WrestleMania. Jey said he's going to pray before WrestleMania. He's going to pray to ask for forgiveness for what he will do to Gunther at WrestleMania. And he vowed to become champion, dropped the mic, left the ring, and Gunther wasn't quite sure what to make of this. It was a really good promo from Jey. This is definitely something that we needed to see out of Jey. Taking things very seriously now. This is personal for him. He's focused. No more clowning around or goofing off. He is a man on a mission looking to dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania. I liked the segment. We got one more Raw. We'll see what they do for the final segment going into WrestleMania. But for this night, I really liked it. But it's going to be hard to predict this match before next Monday's Raw. We're doing our predictions this weekend, by the way, for those of you wondering. The NoDQ.com predictions will be Saturday night, night 1, Sunday night, night 2, this coming weekend, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for both nights. Make sure you guys tune in for that. WrestleMania 41 pay-per-view predictions. We got full panels. It's going to be a fun time. Next up, we had New Day, the New Day, as Pat McAfee would say, against the Viking Raiders, or the War Raiders, for the tag team titles. Now, the Raiders did not get an entrance, and on top of that, we had that guy, Heathcliff, whatever the hell his name is, the guy who's doing the roast of WrestleMania. I don't know anything about this guy, but my first impression of him is he sucks. Like his comedy is bad. He was talking very quietly. It felt very awkward, and it completely took me out of the match, by the way. They had him there to promote the roast of WrestleMania, but this was rough, man. And if this is what he's like as his stand-up routine or whatever the hell he does, it's gonna be a train wreck. That's just how I feel about it. As far as the match goes, I mean, it was really a very basic match and more or less an angle than an actual match, because you had the Viking Raiders or the War Raiders mostly dominating the match. And that led to Xavier Woods grabbing a steel chair, trying to use it, but Ivar took the chair away and he used the chair, but the referee saw Ivar with the chair and the Viking Raiders or the War Raiders were disqualified. After the match, New Day attacked the Raiders, left them laying with the chairs, and they were going to do some damage to Eric's neck, but the officials came out there and were able to get the New Day out of there. I presume we're getting a follow-up at WrestleMania for the tag titles. Like, I thought we were getting this match at WrestleMania to begin with. Maybe they wanted to do the angle to build up some heat for it. But yeah, it was a segment that I would have skipped if I had the ability to do so. But I have to recap the show, and I had to sit through it. I wouldn't recommend it. This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, This Guy. I appreciate it. Says it would be cool if Jey versus Gunther was no DQ. Paul owes nothing to Seth Rollins. Well, we'll get to that in just a few moments, the stuff with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. As far as Jey versus Gunther goes, I mean, I'd be down with that. It's a personal feud. And we've already seen them in a regular match for the championship. Remember Saturday night's main event? Since this is a rematch, yeah, I'd like there to be some sort of a stipulation. I think if any match was going to be no DQ, this would be a good choice. Although the triple threats are technically no DQ as well, since it's 3 people in there. No countouts, no DQ, etc. We had a video package hyping up Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. No John Cena, no Cody on this show, which meant no Rock. We got SmackDown and then next Monday's Raw. But I wonder if The Rock's even going to show up. Maybe next week. But if there is no Rock, and again, it's going to be hard to predict John Cena versus Cody Rhodes not knowing what happens next Monday. But we are going to be doing the predictions this coming weekend. And if no Rock on Raw next week, I'm thinking we are going to have a new champion. But we'll talk about that this weekend. Shout out to Big G, who's in the chat room. Much love to Big Baller G. We had our final match before the final segment, which was Penta versus Dominik Mysterio. Back and forth match here. Dominik doing his signature moves like the Three Amigos. He went for the 619, but Penta countered with a super kick. And then Dominik regained control with Penta's own Mexican Destroyer. He hit the 619, but then he went up for the frog splash. Penta got his knees up, and then Penta picked up the win with the Penta driver. Solid TV match. Afterwards, Carlito, he attacked Penta, laid him out with the backstabber, and then Braun Breaker ran down. Braun Breaker destroyed Carlito with a spear. That was a wild spear. I mean, he probably speared the soul out of Carlito's body. He also speared Dominik and Penta. Then Finn Balor attacked Breaker from behind, but he stood there and gloated too long. He posed with the championship. That allowed Breaker to get back up. He went for the spear to Balor, but Balor managed to escape. And this is a match that could go several ways. I agree with Ian. It's a fatal 4-way. A lot of the time I would go with the champion, but not necessarily in this case. And we'll talk about that this weekend. We had our final segment of the show, which was Paul Heyman in the ring. He said he is always going to be loyal to his tribal chief, Roman Reigns. He's also going to be loyal to his best friend, CM Punk. But he wanted to make one thing perfectly clear. Before he could say anything, Seth Rollins came out there and said that Heyman is not close with either of these guys. Roman Reigns, according to Rollins, doesn't give a damn about Heyman. Rollins brought up how Heyman was left laying at the hands of Solo Sikoa's bloodline in Madison Square Garden, put through a table in his hometown with his family there. And also CM Punk used Paul Heyman after walking out on the company, walking out on Heyman. CM Punk, who was not the first choice in War Games, Rollins made it clear he was the first choice. Rollins said that Punk used Heyman to get a favor, and Rollins said he feels bad for Heyman. He said the best thing to do would be to remove Heyman from the situation. And Rollins had a way to do it. He said it would be quick and easy. It would be one quick stomp. Nobody's there to save him. Rollins wanted to know how much is Paul Heyman worth? And then he shoved Heyman a little bit. He slapped him. He shoved him again. And at this point, Heyman just snapped and he screamed, "Don't you put your damn hands on me again." Heyman was furious. Rollins, though, was overpowering Heyman. And at this point, CM Punk finally showed up. I wonder what took him so long. He sure as hell took his time to come out there and help Paul Heyman. Maybe this will play into the storyline. We'll see. But yes, Punk finally showed up, and we had a brawl between Punk and Rollins. Rollins, though, managed to get the upper hand, and he laid out Punk with the curb stomp, and then he teased doing it to Heyman. He had the opportunity, but he did not pull the trigger with the curb stomp. And he then told Heyman, "Now you owe me a favor." And we had that little cliffhanger as Monday Night Raw went off the air. This was a hell of a segment. Paul Heyman is a master. He is one of the best performers in wrestling. He always knocks it out of the park, or almost always knocks it out of the park. I don't know if anybody's perfect, but Heyman's damn near close. I guess Hamp didn't like it. What a shock. But I thought this was a fantastic segment. Heyman was on fire. I thought Rollins did a great job too, building up some intrigue for the match. The rest of Raw was okay. It was standard, maybe even a little disappointing considering how close we are to WrestleMania. They did a solid job building up the IC title match. I really liked the El Grande Americano stuff. It was solid. It was a solid Raw, probably in the average range, fairly standard. I did like Gunther's promo. All in all, I thought Raw was a good show. I don't think it was at the level of last week, though, and for being less than 2 weeks out until WrestleMania, I was maybe a little underwhelmed by it, but I still think overall it was a good show. So I am going to give it 6 out of 10 points this week. Best segment to me was the end. That to me was a home run. A great segment at the end with Paul Heyman. Very intrigued about where that goes. And we got our predictions coming up this weekend on the No DQ YouTube channel. Make sure you guys tune in for that. Saturday night and Sunday night, both at 8 p.m. Eastern. Night 1 on Saturday, night 2 on Sunday. Tune in for that, everybody. We got 3 shows left until WrestleMania. Hopefully they got something good for next week. I know Roman Reigns is going to be there. I don't think they said anything about Cody, but we'll see what happens this Friday on SmackDown. Thank you all for watching. Have a great week. Take care, everybody. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.